Back from the hospital, everything all good. Had to make a quick stop at the little Walgreens, but getting back to this NBA draft. All right, TP, you got your team. You got your team. How you feel about the draft pick?
I hope we pick the right twin.
Lord.
We got kids that didn't even go to college.
But I mean,
he looked good.
That's
though.
The way it's.
He looked good in the league they were playing in. You know, he averaged 16 points a game last season, which is, that's respectable. But shout out to their family though. First twins in NBA history to go top 10, and him and his brother went back to back. So I can only hope that we got the right twin, unless they just carbon copies of each other and they're gonna have the same career, which I highly doubt. But one can only hope for the best. So I'm trying to stay positive.
I mean, you look at the Collins brothers. The Collins brothers were basically rebounding carbon copies of each other. So that's a possibility.
Markeith was a little bit better, in my opinion.
I just want to point out both Morris brothers could fight. I didn't know that was an NBA skill, but that's an NBA skill.
Apparently.
The Raptors have drafted Grady Dick out of Kansas. My God, you will get no endorsement deals whatsoever. Not from anything reputable anyway. But I respect the shiny suit because, yeah, that's wow. Wow. His mother played basketball, so I mean, it is what it is. Oh, make sure we get through every
NBA draft, so we can get back to the real sport.
Yeah. I don't like have a lot of NFL stuff because my day was derailed. Like I wake up on Thursdays and usually I choose the violence. But apparently when I said Dion, the violence chose me. My mentions are still blowing up.
Anytime you come for Prime, you're going to have a whole army behind you waiting.
I know.
With some shit to say. So you got to be ready, and your facts better be on point, because they're going to call you
and that's the whole thing. Like, so these Jackson State fans, they don't like when you say anything bad about their university. So I do. If you follow me on Twitter, I talk about history. I talk about economic disparities, and I talk about how specifically the SWAC, because the SWAC has a very unique situation. They have a situation where the bylaws allows any institution to get their own media rights deal. Now, that is helpful and it's harmful. So, for instance, a school like Grambling State, who has a media rights deal, who also have a collective component with that media rights deal. That means the players getting paid, school getting paid, and there is a way to funnel money into the program. There is no reason why FAMU and Jackson State played the first game of the season on an ESPN property, whether it's ESPN3, which is ESPN Plus, whether it's ESPN, ESPN2. There is no reason why a classic, I'm not talking about the other classics, because I'll be honest, they ain't the same as FAMU's classic. FAMU brings a different fan base. They bring a lot of money when it comes to their classics. The Orange Blossom Classic is in Miami. That's a big game. It's in Miami. It ain't the Florida Classic because that's a Disney Florida Blue backed event. So it's different money. But it still should be on national TV. I would even hasten to say that because of the time that the game is played, it should be on ABC. And hopefully I ain't freeze up. But that's where I feel like it should be.
My my stance is what it always has been. We got to improve the talent level, and we have to do a better job of marketing. Because it's one thing to be on national TV, then it's another to have people actually want to watch your product. It has to be marketed in the proper way and have a focus on being able to reach different backgrounds. It can't just because it's HBCUs playing doesn't mean it should only be black people watching. You know, if you're trying to expand into the bigger market, then you have to appease, other people. It has to be a product that everybody wants to watch.
I have said numerous times that the classic system should be equal to a FBS bowl game. It should be equal. It's not going to be the exact same money, but we
Nah,
shouldn't be talking about the media rights deal. Somebody published the media rights deal for the SWAC that was back in 2019. It's essentially $40,000 per member institution per year. You can't fill no team with that. And again, everybody wants to talk about fundraising, and I made a joke about the $50,000. So I didn't make a joke. It was a true comment. Like that can't be the standard. And it's not me hating on Jackson State. If you thought that I was hating, I literally said, if you get mad, be mad. Change the mindset. That can't be the standard. It can't. Because remember, it was University of Alabama Birmingham. They dropped their football program because they could not generate enough money. It's back now, but they dropped their program. HBCUs are the only programs that year after year after year have shoestring budgeted their way to the next season. And as a PWI guy, it's not fair. And it's not right. And it's not incumbent on Jackson State or Grambling State or FAMU or Prairie View A&M, Texas Southern, that school in Daytona. It's not incumbent upon them to equal the playing field. You have to equal the playing field on the networks that are purchasing your content.
Right.
Ain't nobody watching no South Dakota State game. Let's just be honest. Ain't nobody watching no Utah State game. But people watching FAMU and Jackson State. People watching Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. People watching GSU and Southern. They are watching these things. It is not incumbent upon alumni year after year after year to raise money to fund the program. This ain't Oklahoma State. This ain't oil money. T. Boone Pickens is dead, and he still donate money to Oklahoma State. It is not incumbent upon African American institutions to do this. It is incumbent upon the entities that are using our product to pay the equitable portion for that product. And that's all I ever said. And if you're against that, then you seriously got a problem. And troll me all you want to. That ain't gonna put no money in your coffers. That is an exercise in mentions. Yes, you have blown up my Twitter mentions. Yes, there will be visitors to the podcast that would have never come to the podcast before. The brand of Fat Mouth Sports just increased today because y'all got mad because I said deal. Thank you. think I lost TP. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, we good.
So it's not, again, if you take my comments are made two ways, and I'm mad that I have to explain this. I get up on Thursdays and I start shit because it gets me going. I usually start shit with LSU, that school in Daytona. Florida and Miami don't talk back. LSU don't talk back. The, I can't get nobody else to talk back. Bethune-Cookman, they talking back. And apparently, Jackson State is talking back. And if all them getting mad at me is going to make them see, hey, we need to change our mindset because they really believe they are a blue blood organization. And they're a great organization. They are a historic organization. But they're not Grambling State. They're not Tennessee State. And they're not FAMU. And the records and the history state these are your preeminent programs based on national championships. Jackson State ain't knocked off no Miami. They damn sure ain't knocked off no Miami with no Jim Kelly on the squad. FAMU did that. People forget FAMU and other HBCUs were able to participate in FCF playoffs on an equal playing field.
I
And
think
when they start winning,
what happened was people thought that Jacksonville State was the same thing, Jackson State, but no, totally different states because they knocked off the top five
exactly.
championship series team, a bowl series team.
To this point, Jackson State has had great players. Yeah, they've had great players. They've had a couple great seasons. And a couple of those great seasons was recently. On Eddie Robinson, it's not on the level of a Jay Gaither. I don't know Tennessee State's great coach. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know. But it's not on those same levels. So while I don't want to diminish the program itself because it's the HBCU finding its way to national prominence, you got to accept who you are and what you are. I had to accept who Florida State was and what they was, which is why I don't like the coach, which is why I have an issue with the front office, well, with the administration. Like I have those issues.
They underachieve.
And
by underachieve, I mean they went out and picked a coach that was less than what the organization needs. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna let that man sleep good tonight. I can get you going, and then we gonna fuck around and be here all night. But you get what I'm saying. Yeah. They underachieve with the amount of talent that they bring in, both coaching and player, because it's a prestigious university. You would expect for them to have better recruiting classes, but I think that starts with the coach. So, stop me when I'm wrong. Stop me when I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're perfectly right.
But then when we start looking at the talent level within the HBCUs, and then we said that there was not one drafted to the NFL, I think a lot of that has to do with the leadership of these players. And I'm not trying to badmouth any coach in the HBCU. What I'm saying is they need to do a better job as far as having that linkage between the college level and the pro level. Because I think a lot of times with these NFL clubs, what they're looking for, they go to these high level Division I schools. They have this relationship with the coaches and the scouts there. They know kind of what they're getting. They have a better idea of the player or the caliber of player or the ceiling of that player, as opposed to the HBCU who don't have that relationship. So if you want to improve the overall outlook on the sport itself, then you have to be able to train these players better. And once you start having better players, you'll start being able to market them better. but it's all a process. It's not going to be an overnight thing. You can't just say, "Oh, we got a media deal," and you think people going to watch. No, because these not players that they looking for to make it to the next level. And I think that's the whole thing. When I watch, Division I football, I'm looking at future NFL prospects. I'm watching USC because I want to see Caleb Williams. I know he's gonna be good at the next level, so I want to be able to say that I saw him in college. You don't really have that with HBCUs. That has to change.
Yeah. And at some point, on a scouting level, on a position coach level, head coach level, let's just be honest, NFL head coaching, I am not sure they will ever be where they need to be in my lifetime. But the position coaches, the scouting, if the schools have relationships with the particular scouts and position coaches, those players have a better end to the NFL than players who don't have, or schools that don't have those relationships. Florida State, I'm going to use them as an example because my school, Florida State has a lineage of NFL players because coaches know what to expect when they have a Florida State player. 3 years ago, there shouldn't have been a single Florida State player drafted. Let's just be honest. And there were probably about 40 HBCU talents that should have been drafted. But there were players who got drafted. And I'm not knocking Florida State, but I mean, come on, man. The talent is there. I've looked at FAMU roster. I haven't looked at Jackson State. I haven't looked at Grambling State. I looked at FAMU's roster. I looked at the offensive line and the defensive line. I know they got speed on the outside. I know they got wide receivers. I know they got quarterback competition in that room right now. I know that. But that offensive line looked like a Division I offensive line. When your center guard and two guards are 320 plus, and you got 280 on the ends that hopefully got good feet, that's what you want. Like, it's not hard to find speed in HBCUs. It's just not. It's 3 stars in Florida that can run a 4.4. So it's not hard to find the speed. They got something that I had not expected to see on that roster. They got beef. And that's serious. Now, this Orange Blossom Classic, we so far away from this Orange Blossom Classic. The fact that we going through all this beef online is crazy. Hey, I'm gonna call Jackson State. I'm gonna call them tomorrow because you throw one grenade in the room and they all come out shooting. So I guess
But what you're saying is, FAMU has already won the physicality battle.
Exactly.
If I know anything about the sport that I hold dear to my heart, physicality wins games. Games are won and lost in the trenches. You can't throw a pass if you can't block. You can't run the ball if you can't block. You can't stop nobody if you can't get off blocks. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. When you start, you got to build. That's why they say you build from the inside out. They talking about you start with your line, offense and defense, and you build out. Of course, you got to have a proper signal caller. You got to have DBs that want to make plays on the ball, linebackers that want to go find the ball. You got to have all these things, but if your offense and defensive line can't hold water, it's gonna get ugly. Yeah. I've literally seen Alabama, for instance, completely dominate teams, and the domination is from the line. You're getting killed up front, and you can't call a pass play because your quarterback got less than 2 seconds, and they only rushing 4. Like you tell me what quarterback can find an open receiver with 7 DBs in coverage, and he got 2 seconds to think about it. It's not going to end well. And FAMU, you know, they take it to the next level when you look at the level that they're at. Most of these teams don't have 300 plus guys up front. Now, if they can come out and just completely maul people, you're going to see FAMU walk their way right back to a championship.
Again, I just want to point out, remember, everybody talks about that Jackson State game where Jackson State put up 59 points. Also remember, FAMU was missing a lot of players. A lot of players. So it's gonna get interesting. Again, Jackson State people, if you got offended what I said, I don't give a shit. Just me, I don't care. Like all the love that I show, I know I show. HBCUs, you've seen all the pictures, TP. Every time it's a FAMU event, Marlo let me know it's an event. I'm there. I'm at more FAMU games than I am at Florida State games. You know, if I'm gonna be honest, because I'm like coach.
That's Debo right there. who won it with Debo?
Yeah, and so like we didn't really get a chance to tell Marlo what Auburn said. That might have been good because we would have got through nothing. We wouldn't talk about the NBA.
We wouldn't get nowhere. As a matter of fact, he'd have been, hey, hold on, let me call y'all right back. And he would have been on the phone, but on the way to Mississippi.
Oh God.
He'd have been on his way to Mississippi.
So, he gave me 30. What was it? He gave me 15 minutes about Tom Brady. 15 minutes. And you know what?
We've had many a podcast derail.
And still fuck Tom Brady. I don't care.
Get on the wrong subject. We will be off the tracks. In the woods somewhere, talking recklessly too. On the borderline of getting banned.
For real. Oh my God.
I had to hit pause, but hey. Cancel culture. Remember that.
For real. I was like, he just said,
yeah,
we talked about this. But that's my dog. He's here because he gives unadulterated, honest truth, which we all do. I'm quite surgical with my troll. And apparently I hit a nerve today. Like they don't really understand. Like they trashing me, but I'm proud. Like all publicity is good publicity. So keep talking about me. I'm just gonna direct it to the podcast.
I can't say that word right, so you got it already.
Oh man, TP, you know, it's the NBA draft. It's been trades. It's, you know, we got football season and all this other stuff, or baseball season and all this other stuff. But the off season is special because only in the off season can fans act like they squad gonna win the championship and know the head coach gone. Greener pastures, so to speak. No, they done had like 20 people transfer going to some cold mountainous area. But they gonna talk noise regardless, like they gonna win it all. And I respect it. Because that school Daytona ain't doing that. That school Daytona just gonna quit disrespecting us and go keep it moving. Not the Jackson State University. And I've always said, any university that have to put the in front of it, the underachievers, the fighting acorns. Yeah, Ohio State, your mascot is an acorn. The Jackson State Tigers. I appreciate everything y'all did for me today. Y'all kind of put me in check for like 5 seconds. And then I remember who I was. Because, like, I know what FAMU did for me. FAMU was an HBCU. I know that my 7-year-old, his grandmother, who is a historic figure in Manatee County, she was a school board chairman for many years. They have a school named after her. She's a Bethune-Cookman University. It was Bethune-Cookman College when she went, but she's a Bethune-Cookman University graduate. All of my mentors, Mr. Lou Brown Realty, went to Howard. My ninth grade.
I like how you put some respect on that. It wasn't as cool in Daytona when it's regarding somebody important.
Exactly.
I feel that.
I know what has changed my life. The people that mentored me could not go to a Florida State, could not go to a Florida. I was privileged enough to go to Florida State. But it was on the shoulders of the people who went to HBCUs that got me there and through.
You know, one of my mentors when I was in the Air Force, and he actually, after, you know, listening to his advice and just talking to him, I seen my career go from just mediocre to, you know, I started achieving things that I never thought possible. But what he told me was, and this is a quote that I've always stuck with, he said, "I can see further because I have stood on the shoulders of giants." Now, I didn't understand that at first, but then once I started thinking about it and I started, you know, applying the things that he was teaching me, and then it made sense. Because when he said it, and it was funny because we in Korea drinking, we end up behind the hooch talking, and then he started giving me like some just real shit, like, you know, because he very professional. You talk to him at work, professional all the way around. I'm not so much. I'm from the hood, and you know that every time you talk to me. But it was at that time that I started to like actually change the way I talk, you know. And he had me outside talking to me. He was giving me the real, the raw, because it's different for us, and you have to understand that. You know, when you just do enough to get by, you actually look less than what your counterparts are doing. Things that I didn't understand at that time, you know. I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. He was like, nah, you got to do more. He would always say that you got to do more. And, you know, these are lessons that I hope that I can teach my kids as well. But that saying, I can see further because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. You're basically saying, hey, they already paved the way. I got over here and I got the view because they showed me. Like a little kid sitting on his daddy's shoulders at a fair because he can't see what's going on. Sometimes you need that boost.
You know, I'm all 35 of our subscribers. We here every Thursday. Like us, love us, we here. And I don't care how many troll messages you send me, and I'm still gonna be talking FAMU. I'm still gonna be talking shit about that school that they told me. I'm still gonna be telling Jackson State they ain't got no rival. And I'm still gonna be saying, if you got an opportunity to go to a classic, go to a classic. Go to events surrounding that classic. If there is a golf tournament, go play in the golf tournament. If there's a charity function, go play in the charity function. These are things that you can do to help. Because let's be honest, they ain't getting that ESPN money, and they should. So, but TP, what you got for us this week?
I'm gonna keep it short. You know, we just celebrated Juneteenth. I hope y'all, you know, get out, barbecue, see your people, do whatever. We understand the gravity of that holiday for us African Americans. When they signed the Declaration of Independence, many of my ancestors were not free. So that declaration meant almost nothing to them in the South. Besides, hey, we supposedly our own country now. We ain't got the people that own us ain't got to pay as much taxes to their home country. They get this free game now. But understanding that 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, but it wasn't until 1867, June 19th, the soldiers landed in Galveston and basically let the slaves know that they were free and had been free. But we celebrate that to commemorate that achievement in our history. There were many battles to be fought from there until now, with some we still fight. But, you know, as a country, we still have a long way to go, but we have made progress. But progress can only happen if people try to have progress. You got to be accepting of progress, because change is always scary. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. That's all I got for y'all. We appreciate y'all every week. And until next time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, while I wasn't here, it's, if he had a long day, he was helping his nephew do some stuff, and he chimed in, and we always appreciate his contributions. Next week, I am desperately trying to get Yard Talk on here after this week, because we finna put the rest of this whole PWI guy thing, because I will always start my tweets off when this pertaining to certain issues of economics with PWI got here, and keep it moving. So, for all the gentlemen of the Gathering of Old Men Podcast, you can also find us on all of your streaming platforms, not just YouTube, not just Facebook, every one of your streaming platforms, even Amazon. So check us out, like, subscribe. We got comments, stuff you don't like, feel free to comment. I always listen. I might not agree with you, but I always listen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.